And another podcast that I really like is Lex Friedman's podcast.
Yeah, AI, deep learning.
Yeah, so he does a lot of machine learning.
So his video was
that gave some relief, and I took all the antibiotics in the world. So I was out for like 5 weeks, and
right.
when I went back, like the only thing that came up was what happened to all these things you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I realized that this so that's how flip the switch in me, and I think this is what people are going to realize, that the risk, there are hidden risks in a long career, which I think
it doesn't pop up.
Yeah, which doesn't pop up. But in the startup life, there's the obvious risks, there's more risks, but there are also, you have flexibility in choosing your course of action, because ultimately you don't have any decision making power in a law firm or a big company. You just have to report it, you can frame it the best way you want, you can probably try to persuade them a little bit, but the authority to make the decision is not yours. I actually say that I live my life not by his principles, but like 60% by his principles, which to some extent is not good enough anyways, but I actively try to anti-fragilize things, and this is part of it, by the way, exposing myself to a new upside. This is a source of convexity, exactly.
Hi guys, this is the Bangalore podcast, and we are a bunch of guys who are ever curious, and we want to get out there and ask stupid questions to smart people, and we want Bangalore to answer. And this podcast is all about that. And if you are curious like us too, and if you're a Bangalorean, this is a good place to be.
So the reason I got Ashwin over was we had a lot of things to talk. So I thought, why not get Ashwin over and let's speak about different things, whatever he's interested in, about Bangalore as usual, and in general, what is he up to, what is he reading, what is he watching, what is he up to. What's up, bro? For the people who are watching, a bit about yourself.
Yep. Hey guys, I'm Ashwin, basically long time resident of Bangalore. I grew up in Malleshwaram on 8th Main.
Oh, Malleshwaram boy.
Yeah, Malleshwaram guy.
We are only Malleshwaram boys in the podcast, somehow, bro. Yes.
That's interesting. I think it's the most populated area.
Yeah.
I moved here to Army second stage in about 2003. All my formative years from 92 to 2003 was in Malleshwaram. Yeah.
Okay.
And after that, I basically traveled the country. I studied in Jodhpur, worked for a bit in Chennai, worked in Delhi, worked in Bombay, and now I'm back in town. I've been here for basically 2020. Yeah, it's not the best year, but anyways. I've been here this year.
You were here this year?
Yeah, and I've been running a startup. It's an MMA fantasy sports app called Fight Forecaster.
That's the whole reason I got to move up.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, let's go back a bit. Before that, I want to ask your thoughts on podcasting. What are your thoughts on podcasting? When was the first time you heard about podcasts and stuff?
Okay, so this is actually something we spoke about. You want me to go back? Yeah, sure. This is something we actually spoke about, I think, the first time we met when we went for a nice long walk around this place. Big fan of the Joe Rogan Experience, obviously.
OG.
And he's definitely the most popular podcast in the world, and like you said, the OG of podcasts.
Yeah.
On MMA, I do a lot of it's work now, but earlier it was one of my main pastimes was on MMA Twitter. Just basically and a lot of people ran their own podcasts there. So I know there are a lot of Anchor and Spotify podcasts which are very popular.
Yeah.
And so I listen to a few MMA podcasts on a regular basis. And another podcast that I really like is Lex Friedman's podcast.
Yeah, AI, deep learning.
Yeah, so he does a lot of machine learning.
So his video was interesting, bro. Just looks out of the window.
Yeah.
It's like the window was a nice guest, there was a comment.
Yeah.
So you guys are crazy guys.
He does. I really enjoy his podcast. I think his choice of guests is great. But yeah, it's all intense mathematical stuff. Yeah.
Stuff that I like, I'm beginning to like at least. Computer science, AI.
Yeah. There's a lot to get excited about. Yeah.
So that brings me to the point. I just want to start another just tech for Bangalore. Just so that just we can sit down and speak only about tech. Because again, it's a growing thing since we're in startup city Bangalore. Like it makes sense because there are a lot of people who are working in tech too, right? So Lex is good. Joe Rogan's good. Tim Ferriss. And how can you forget Naval?
Naval's own podcast, I think, but it's like a limited podcast. Limited edition series. But Naval's is obviously a big hero of mine. I'm going to tell you his opinion. Please. I am running a startup, but a lot of the things that he talks about that he's supposed to be doing while running a startup, I'm not entirely doing that. I get frustrated, annoyed. I don't think I'm, juicing my hours properly. I don't think I've, achieved my aspirational hourly rate.
Yes.
Yeah, but everything's a work in progress, and it's at least a step in the right direction. And I'm happy with the product. The product has traction. It's just that execution is way harder.
How did you get into this? As you told, you were already interested, but how did you sort of compute the entire idea, or like just like this is interesting. There's a market for it.
Oh yeah,
product market fit. Now we can speak novelisms.
Novelism. So I wouldn't say we achieved product market fit yet. Actually, I mean, I actually thought we had, and we had in the sense that there are users of the product and they all really love the product. But investment firms like Anderson Horowitz and these guys, they have a much higher threshold for what you call product market fit. What you call So what I was saying is so firms like Anderson Horowitz and stuff, they have a much higher threshold for what you actually call product market fit. And what they mean by that is basically that there's so much of demand for your product that you're basically running out of server space and you're not able to cater to the demand anymore. And so clearly the thing is you need to have your investors lined up, I guess, before you reach product market fit, because otherwise you're in a very weak negotiating position clearly. But I mean, I think we're a little bit way off from that, because right now all the marketing that's being done is being done on a one-on-one basis. We're still getting a lot of feedback, referrals, word of mouth, and we're still working on an engineering team at the back end. So we're sort of putting things together. Everything is bootstrapped at the moment.
It's the way to go, right? Holistically bring things up so that you can think it through at least.
Absolutely,
Right. So just for people who don't understand fantasy sports, just like a brief overview and what it is. What is it about?
So fantasy sports is basically a way for fans of a particular sport to engage with the sport more meaningfully. It's currently all the rage because there's a company called Dream 11, which is one of the unicorns in India, and they basically done fantasy sports for cricket. Even though I think both the founders are also large Man United fans. Okay. In fact, I had the opportunity to visit the office once. I didn't get to meet anybody of significance, but I was there for a brief while, and I did notice on both their doors they have that Man United logo.
And what is thing? What are you looking at?
I'm basically targeting the sport of mixed martial arts.
Yes.
Which is a very fringe sport at the moment.
Right now, but that's where I feel basketball too. There is like a growth. There is
in India
because we grew up at a time where boys were playing cricket, but we were playing basketball. I forgot boys were like. Then we realized basketball's growing, but yes, it's growing.
Do you know this guy Gary Vaynerchuk?
Obviously.
So
part of the reason why I do all of this is somewhere related to him.
So amazing.
Now it makes sense.
So Gary Vaynerchuk actually popped up on my radar for the first time, and I saw him on the Delvani show, which is like very popular MMA.
Okay.
And I I think he's got a sufficient track record as an investor.
Yes, yes.
He basically said that in the years ahead, three sports are going to dominate the world, which is soccer, basketball, and MMA is his bet. And so, yeah, I'm hoping to be in the right place at the right time.
Definitely.
But yeah, executing is
Is the scene, but you have an edge in terms of if nobody's talking about it as of yet, you're in the right space. That's what they tell you.
Oh yeah, for sure. And to be honest, I think we've already gotten a tremendous amount done. Despite so many setbacks, there was the COVID setback. There were issues. I'm coming from a non-technical background. I had a previous co-founder who ultimately had to quit for personal reasons. But so there have been a lot of setbacks. Hiring talent has been a challenge. But yeah, despite that, we've gotten we got over 500 downloads, and it's growing. And I haven't even spent any money on marketing yet.
That's good.
So once we really gear up,
this will
start marketing.
So if anybody's looking for it, there are investors.
Basically this is part of my marketing efforts.
Yes.
To get out there.
And if you're looking for investors, you can look him in the eye and be like,
for sure.
boss, check us out.
Yeah. The good news is, I think, especially today, investors are far more easily available.
Right.
I don't. In fact, I think it's very the balance of power between founder and investor has shifted a lot. Everything is getting more and more founder centric, and as Naval says, the internet has enabled a lot of this.
Things, right?
Yeah. So I think we digressed a lot. I just want to come back to
this is like an open podcast. You can literally say anything.
That's good. The question I wanted to come back to was already initially get into this, right? So I think and I don't think I probably didn't do a good job of addressing what is fantasy sports question as well.
Because there are people who want to just know, and through this probably they want to understand more.
So what do you typically do? It depends, structure is sport to sport, but if you take Dream 11 as an example, or if you take what the other fantasy sports unicorns in the West are doing, they mostly go on team-based sports, and they expect you to pick a lineup, and based on the real-world performance of those players, they earn certain fictional points or fantasy points. And whoever chooses their lineup in the best way, so as to get the most of those points, wins. And but with MMA, the scenes are a little bit different.
Okay.
There are different ways to score points, and I think that really is the advantage of the Fight Forecaster system. Because I think it's the only system globally where your performance is very, very linked to exactly how advanced you are. So it's the only probability-based scoring system in the world, as far as I'm aware. And I'm reasonably certain about it because I've been looking around, and almost everybody seems to be asserting fixed points. But I have a system where you can actually, depending upon how confident you are of an outcome occurring, you can give more points. And if you're 50-50 on a certain thing happening, you can actually record 50-50 and you get those many points for it. But if somebody's like, I'm 100% sure that this guy's gonna win, so they'll get more points. So the more probability weight you assign to the outcome that actually occurs, the more points you get. And also, the more specific you are in your prediction, the more points you get. That's the two-line version. Yeah.
And you take fiat, only fiat. No currency.
Right now it's not monetized, so everybody that's playing is playing for fun.
Okay.
A lot of users have in fact been asking
some BTC
to last bit. Yeah, Bitcoin's an option. Obviously, because it's a global audience, and MMA, so it's a global sport.
Right? Something regarding basketball matches too. You should try putting BTC on some matches. There were some. This was at a time when I didn't know what the fuck was happening. But yeah, we were betting on matches. Only this was even when people had a vague understanding of what cryptocurrency was, but still we were trying to just understand what this was and just trying to who's going to win the match and the odds, and that was my understanding of how this thing worked.
Yeah.
Am I far off from that?
Well, I mean,
This was more of a point-based system, and
it is. You're not too far off from that. Actually, could you repeat that actually just once?
So it was more about.
Get it correct, yeah.
So it was more about. It's just normal kind of like this team's gonna win 1:1, 1:1.9.
Yeah.
Like that. And we used to put cryptocurrencies basically.
Yeah, so there's sort of a scale in the industry between what they call, if you keep pure luck at one end, which is basically gambling, and pure skill at the other end, and maybe at the extreme end of pure skill, you have a game like chess. And at the other end, you have like a roll of the dice, which is pure gambling. So, in fact, Green 11 was also taken to court at one point in time. And the court ruled that basically they fall within the category of games of skill. So courts have taken a liberal interpretation of that rule.
But yeah, come on, bro. For the most parts, right? Whatever you do, if everybody, as Nawal says, if the mass consensus is right, you're wrong.
Yeah.
If mass consensus is if there is consensus, you're somewhere within the average. But if you're doing something new out of the fringes, as I told you, right?
Yeah.
Cryptocurrency or podcast or digital marketing for that matter, if I have to tell you, I had to, sort of explain people what digital marketing was when I started off 3-4 years ago. It was more of I had to tell the client, this is, why the fuck would I have digital marketing? I have newspaper ads, I have, ads. Then, so now what it's come to is I don't even have to tell people.
Explain.
They understand what it is. They understand what can be done through me, right?
It's also become a very crowded space.
It's become a crowded space, but I've been playing around with this for years. So it's I know I can rationalize where it is. Plus, let's say you spend your ad spend on for something. Let's just get to how would you spend money, right? You spend 5k for an ad, right? 5,000 rupees for a week. You run a campaign. That 5,000 rupees was worth very much more when I started off doing it.
Yeah.
In terms of, I just played around. I just put money on the internet, just started running ads instead of going getting a certification done. Practical, right? Just practical. So I started putting money on the internet and started running my own ads, fucking it up and getting banned by Facebook and all that, the various stuff. But I learned it through that. But the same money, if I have to put it now, as you said, it's crowded.
Yeah.
Restaurants, jewelers, and insurance companies are running ads. There's no space for small people who run ads, right?
So yeah, that's true. But so, what are your thoughts on this system of bidding for ads that Twitter has? I don't know if Instagram.
It's the same for bidding for everything, basically.
For everything.
For everything.
Who do you think it favors? Do you think it favors the big guy? Do you think it helps startups?
So what happens is it's more of how acceptable, how centric, how consumer centric it is. So the consumer always wins, I feel.
Yeah.
Even though you can come in with big money, but you haven't set up systems that actually appeal to the consumer, which is what Facebook or IG or Twitter, anything wants.
Yeah.
Let's say I have big buck, but you can't just run ads as per your wish. You can't. There are certain things you can't. Right now, you can't throw a lot of text into a single picture. They had the rule before. Now they don't have the rule. There's some certain things. The second thing was you can't use questions. There's a lot of psychology that goes into are you tired in life? Are you stuff like that? It just pricks you, right? That kind of advertising. Preying kind of advertising is not allowed anymore. So that goes to say that it's more consumer centric versus some kind of advertising which is more preying. That doesn't work. And to your question, that's what I think. Who benefits from that is somebody who's using the internet.
Yeah, we're probably segueing off a little bit here. But have you seen this documentary, The Social Dilemma?
Yeah, I did.
What do you think about it?
Wait, I'm gonna lose this one. 1 second. I just.
Okay.
Yeah, bro, I did see it. 1 second. About Social Dilemma.
Yeah. You were mentioning that the advertising is getting more consumer centric, and then
It was my. I had no clue about what digital marketing was. To be honest, it was more of me dabbling on the internet. Anything to do on the internet. That's what I was doing, right? So I learned audio production. I learned stuff like that. And digital marketing was one that I could literally run off of a laptop and learn the entire advertising industry, so to speak.
Yeah.
So how I learned was I ran ads. I went back. I picked up books and advertising and what was the OG books on advertising and stuff like that, and what is copywriting, what is ad writing and stuff like that, and I reverse engineered it, ran ads got some understanding. Through that, it was more of like, okay, like Facebook is not like everything. They have their own set rules. If you fuck up, they're gonna ban you. You're gonna get out of the scene. So then that made me realize you can't obviously sell guns, you can't sell all that shit, right? So that there was like a strict code of like what ads you can run and how can you run it without being too like invasive. And then it became clear that like obviously like everybody can't just run ads. You have to like play around, and understand what the platform needs. Then you'll be able to only run ads, right? And social dilemma, it is in some ways it's actually true, but they make it spooky. They have to like Netflix has to sell it.
Yeah. I thought they did a good job, and the nice thing is they didn't paint anybody as a villain.
Yeah. But that's what it was more of like them. It has to be. It can't be like not spooky, and it just can't be like a flat out book which just gives us the pros and the cons. Whereas there's a good book. It's called The Shallows. That's a good book. It's by Nicholas Carr. So he gives us the plus and the negative aspects of internet as a whole, like how you are more distractible versus when you pick up a book it's different versus when you are on the internet, and like that's a good balanced argument in one in one aspect, right? In one entire the book or like a video. This just goes haywire as to tell you why you must use it. In a lot of regards it is true, but then again it's like, as with anything you learn on the internet, you learn about this stuff too, right?
Yeah.
Like you learn your way around it.
So who are your other who are the other authors you turn to?
I run a book club podcast too, so like go ahead.
Because I only read like a little bit. I read Ryan Holiday. And,
Yeah. Cal Newport, Ryan Holiday.
Cal Newport, I read. Yeah, I read a deep work book. I read that when I was still working in Bombay.
Bro, it helps you a lot if you're starting up and stuff, right? Early morning, if you just pick up a bit of that. Now I'm into Peter Diamandis and like the singularity. Ray Kurzweil and stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Those guys, we speak all about that on Sundays.
This is going to be an interesting segue back to the app because, so one of the main thought leaders in the AI singularity thing is a guy called Eliezer Yudkowsky.
Okay.
You may not have heard of him.
I would.
So he had actually written this blog post long ago. So the entire transhumanist movement it's sort of connected with this community blog called Less Wrong. Of which there is a non-existent Bangalore chapter, but I mean, it's now just a WhatsApp group where all of us are friends. But earlier in the day, 10 of us used to meet, we call ourselves the founding members. Because we are. It's just that the group did not achieve any material success other than
you as Naval says, this is a podcast where I can always quote Naval because you understand him. Right, you reiterate basically, right? You reiterate into various iterations and not do the same stuff.
Exactly. So anyways, coming back to the thing, Yudkowsky had written a lot about Bayesian reasoning, and in my experience as a fight fan, and I had to, I was watching all the MMA fights. I think since 2017, 2018, I've probably gotten up every single Sunday.
It's the toughest part to get up in the morning.
I wake up at 2:30, right? Because it's happening at 5 o'clock Eastern time. So
basketball scenario.
Yeah. So that's what happens, and I've been doing that for years now, and I explored a lot of YouTube channels, explored a lot of breakdowns. I realized that the one thing that a lot of these things are missing is this Bayesian angle, because so much of the excitement before the fight is not the actual blows that they land during the fight, but it's the build-up.
It's the build-up.
It's everything around.
That leads to that moment.
Yeah, it's everything around that leads to the moment from a storytelling perspective, but also in the fight itself. Like there's a phrase where they say styles make fights, and the best fights, the ones that you look forward to the most, are when you see guys that have very complementary skills or
Okay.
guys who are like similarly matched and you just don't know what's going to happen and you're sort of racking your brain trying to figure it out because it's a puzzle that you can't solve.
Okay.
Rogan actually describes this repeatedly as high-level problem solving with dire consequences.
Okay.
That's what he describes fighting as. Yeah. So, but anyways, simple yes or no answers are not going to cut it for that kind of high-level problem solving, right? Like, there are shades of grey, and I think that's something that's been missing in the fantasy sports world for a long time until we turned up. So, yeah.
Nice. So, what's like the future for what are you doing right now? Do you have any roadmap? And
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, we've been having troubles getting things started. I'm also beginning to realize that this is part of the course for startups. This is my first startup.
yeah, exactly.
But
you read enough books on startups, you will know like my god, we are on the right path. Fuck that shit.
oh yeah. You read enough books on startups and you speak to other founders. And
Other founders
and then you realize that okay, every problem you're having.
Eventually there are going to be problems. You have to be thinking on your feet 24/7.
You got to be thinking about it 24/7 and just
It's bootstrap mentality.
it's bootstrap mentality, man. But yeah, the plan basically is this that we're looking to expand both in India as well as globally. The good thing about our business is because it's a global business, it's de-risked in some ways.
Yes.
Because it's a very low cost business to run, but there are multiple sources of revenue.
And market segments.
Exactly. Maybe we turn profitable in Brazil, and the Brazil profits is enough to offset everything else.
Exactly.
So
Spread even more.
yeah, and that's the thing. But it is a marketing war, and sort of getting the right investors who know how to market it, who have the right marketing contacts. Yeah, it's mostly a marketing war, man. Like, if you look at the history, yeah, it's an exposure war in a sense because one thing that I noticed, at least with my app and what I noticed with a few of the other apps, also like people don't tend to leave.
Yeah.
Once they get on, they love it so much that they don't really want to. So start to calculate, the customer lifetime value.
Yes.
But right now we first need to calculate how much the acquisition costs, how to get them on board.
Yeah, exactly. And you're saying it's only through word of mouth you're doing it. And
I've been doing it through word of mouth for a few months now. We just launched it.
most events probably. Just something related. If I were to do something related to basketball, probably I'd like watch it.
Oh yeah,
With everybody together. Well, stuff like that just increases the awareness and probably
for sure.
the podcast.
As I was telling you just before we began, there was actually the World Kickboxing Network.
Yeah, so tell us about that.
Yeah, inaugural event on Saturday. This Saturday, in fact.
Kickboxing event.
Yeah, so the World Kickboxing Network is the premier network to oversee kickboxing. In the same way, the World Boxing Council is the premier thing that oversees boxing. And I'm talking about the same. Well, they're two separate entities, but people speak of them in the same breath.
Okay.
And basically, it's the same organizations that put up, Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson and stuff. So, another
Affiliation.
Yeah. So, in fact. The main event was between Vaibhav Shetty and Ashwin who are two of India's, known martial artists. Vaibhav Shetty is in fact also an entrepreneur himself.
Okay.
And he had a gaming company earlier, which now works also in putting up these fights. So they put up the first promotion, and I was actually doing commentary for that fight, and it was a long evening.
Get to it. Since we're on the Bangalore podcast, we can speak about
So
anything very local based.
Oh, it was totally local based. Yeah. So this was happening beyond Sarjapura Road at a gym called In the Pink.
Okay.
There were quite a few, VIPs present there.
Okay. When was the last time you knew about Sarjapur Road? For that matters, you see, when I know we both are from Bangalore.
Yeah, because I've actually been going there quite often because some of our engineers were there. And I've been,
Because that's the hub right now.
Exactly,
For
yeah.
all talent.
So yeah, and I mean some of these engineers you need to be in the same room with them. Otherwise things don't need to happen, right? So that's how it is.
So this was how many years you knew about Sarjapur?
Yeah, no, I pretty much discovered this.
And then what was your first initial reaction when you entered, like, wow, this is part of Bangalore?
Yeah.
Holy fuck, there's so much growth here.
Yeah, no. So when you were there, actually, I was told that oh wow, just a while back when this entire place was
Outside.
yeah, it was just barren, and now there's so much of development that's happened. But yeah, it's and I also didn't realize that Bangalore is becoming a startup hub.
Yes, it is. HSR is.
Yeah.
So, like, as I told you, right? Everything intermingles in what I do. So, I have a podcast on Bangalore podcast. I have one on real estate. So, it's I'm playing off of both.
You're actually the three projects that you have are aligning with each other.
Yeah, aligning with each
very
other.
well.
So I can like speak and still, like make references to that podcast probably because it's this part probably can sit there and stuff. So it makes sense because like why I do this is like different vantage points in the same city, right? You didn't know Sarjapur, I didn't know Sarjapur, right? And what was your overview? What was your understanding? And that gives me an insight as to how, like, probably somewhere in the real estate podcast, viewers can benefit from that. But this is going to be only on our Bangalore podcast. But yeah, it makes sense because like. The podcast is all about Bangalore and Bangaloreans and stuff like that. So, what are we up to?
Right.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, man.
A lot of us youngsters and whom I interview to are all artists and like entrepreneurs and people doing their own stuff. And it makes sense, and probably some kid, way younger, sitting, probably looks at this and okay, fuck, let's do this.
Yeah, there are options.
There are options.
Yeah, the future looks bright, man. I think now is a somewhat annoying time to be alive. I say annoying.
Just like relatively, right?
Yeah, because it's also not clear exactly what's going to happen. There is a cautionary tale to be told that let's not get too excited about the future. Because until it happens, it hasn't happened. Maybe we get stuck here in this stagnation period for a while. And if you actually listen to Eric Weinstein has got his own podcast. Yeah, the portal. Wow, you're a podcast nerd,
Bro, more than producing, right?
Yeah.
I've consumed so many podcasts, it's inevitable. That's my understanding. I wouldn't do anything if I'm not like very much into it. And getting into it takes like 3 to 5 years. So when I start something.
If I'm not mistaken, I think the very first episode of the portal actually had Peter Thiel on it.
I guess, yeah.
And Peter Thiel is another hero of mine.
Zero to 1.
Yeah, and not just that, like, I mean, a lot of his ideas.
So I read his the book 0 to 1, amazing.
Yeah.
Right, the concept on what he taught me was through that book, and his concept was do something that moves the needle from 0 to 1 versus 1 to 100.
Yeah, for sure. But he's also a little pessimistic these days in the sense that he feels that there's not enough 0 to 1 movement.
Yeah, that's the whole reason I think he wrote the book.
Yeah, true. There's not enough. I think at one point in the podcast they called it the Great Stagnation. They called this period.
They can, in terms of their local geographical stuff, probably what's happening there because they're very like steeped in their tech stuff. But there's a slack between what happens in Silicon Valley versus what happens here in Bangalore. It's probably we're progressing here versus because it's due. It's due here.
Yeah, but I think it's still not 0 to 1, right?
Yeah, it is not. But there are the new stuff is going to happen at least, and probably some use cases and problems that is not particular to that place can be here because we might have a population problem and stuff that can lead to 0 to 1 kind of like movements because like it's a new space, it's a new horizon because we pose new problems probably.
Yeah, true. Because I think a lot of people are. Yeah, I should be still recording.
Let
me check.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, digital marketing has become a crowded space. Podcasting has become a crowded space.
Exactly.
Fintech is a very crowded space. But yeah, in every one of these spaces, there are people who are doing unique things. I actually have a couple of friends who live close by who are doing something in the fintech space, and what makes what gives them their edge is actually just the sheer complexity and awesomeness of the product that they're building.
Great.
Yeah, and in fact, these days are shout out to Well 42,
Okay.
and yeah, these days are Y Combinator grantees.
Oh, crazy.
Which is insane. Like, yeah, to those who don't know, basically 4 startups out of I don't know thousands were picked for the grant last year in 2019, and these days are one of those.
Oh, crazy. So what are they into?
Yeah, so they're a fintech startup, and it's targeting personal finance at the moment. But yeah, basically taking a very tech-savvy AI approach.
There's a lot of complexity.
I use these words loosely because I'm not the expert. But yeah,
Is it how Naval speaks about like the combinatrix of things? Is like a lot of different skill sets or like a lot of different
The talent stack.
It makes it so like unique.
Yeah, it is that I think their biggest advantage is just
Data and AI into like a new field.
Exactly. Their more is the complexity of the product they're building, and they probably do a better job of explaining it than I do. Because
We can have you.
maybe I'll definitely help you get in touch with them. Yeah.
Let's get into Naval, since like I can't just stop speaking about him. What part of his philosophy, apart from everything, what struck like a chord, or like what's that takeaway that was very unique or was very momentarily needed?
Actually, the thing with Naval, right, is that he's so insightful that every few days it sort of changes. Right now, the one bit of his philosophy that I'm ruminating over is the principal agent problem.
Don't kill it. Let that. Back to principal agent problem.
Yeah. So it's actually something I sort of I'm trying to reflect. Pre-startup versus post-startup life.
For me, it's been like with everything. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. The principal agent problem, like it's basically an incentives problem. Yeah. And I always suspected it's there, but I'm actually ruminating over it now, and I'm realizing more and more that incentives are a better explanation for how the world works than what most people realize. And it's only when as a founder, you're basically spending a lot of your time trying to align people's incentives.
Rationalize
And and if you can do that, I think you've got it made in whichever field you choose to work.
Exactly.
Basically, make sure that your incentives and everybody else's incentives around you are aligned.
And also to think like a principal versus an agent. Common misconception. Not misconception is the common nature of like if you're working under somebody, you always think like an agent. But if you start thinking like a principal, then like you can lift the entire system up versus like this is only your job, bro. Do this versus if he was a agent who thinks like a principal, what can I do?
I would be a little cautious about that, because this is actually a typical story of what happens at a workplace, right? And I can speak from experience, and it's definitely happened to me. Like, of course, you're supposed to think like a principal, right? You try to solve the problem for your client, and you try to make your firm look better. But the problem is that doesn't necessarily make your boss look better. And there are levels of incentives in between, and it's easy to miss one or two of these, and just missing these can explain a lot of friction in the system.
Because what I learned from that, how he explains it is that guy can rise through the ranks is what he says, right? He can rise through the ranks only if he,
But it depends upon what else.
what the outcome is. If like the boss
It
can
really depends upon the environment, right? And I think this is one of the reasons why startups are becoming attractive to people because
yeah, it's a small
because they're smaller, inherently smaller organizations.
They have a lot of skills.
There are less incentives to align, and if you do manage to think like a principal, like the first employee of a startup, and you do manage to think like the startup founder himself, then of course you're going to be very valuable to the startup, especially as the startup grows, and the owner himself would recognize that. And sort of reward the first employee with equity because he has to incentivize him not just to continue with what he's doing, but to prevent him from being pushed to the competition and things like that. So this brings me to another point. Like so, a lot of my career was actually spent negotiating. You know, my first job, 90% of it was negotiations, and yeah, it sort of shaped my worldview in some ways. So you know exactly how many facades there are in the world before the actual underlying things work. So that was one part of it. But I also realized that the people negotiating are not negotiating with the same incentives that their organization expects of them, even though they think they are.
Right.
Yeah, and you only get to see this when you take a step on the outside. Yeah, exactly. Because you know your incentive while negotiating is to get the best deal on paper. But the best deal on paper is not what's best for your organization.
Principal agent problem.
It's pretty much down the line. Yeah, it's the principal agent problem to such a degree that even the people who are bona fide trying to you know do good for their companies don't realize that they're not doing good for their company. It's the hidden incentives that you got to watch out for, I guess. That's the illumination that has come out of this. But yeah, anyways, coming back to the thing, the reason I brought up the negotiation point was I think the negotiation in many ways, it's good to have a sense of it. It's good to have a sense of, you know, the power balance and how things works and all that because, you know, as you navigate the social world and the corporate world and the startup or any world really. But being a great negotiator is a sort of overvalued skill because and this brings us back to another point that if you negotiate a fair deal, it's where everyone's incentives are aligned and not just their incentives for today but their incentives for long term. Yeah,
Selfish for that reason versus
Exactly.
being short term selfish.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That makes sense, bro.
The way Naval puts it, right? The way I really like
You gotta
it.
listen to it for a couple of lifetimes, I call it. Not just today, not just for tomorrow.
What he says is that even if you manage to negotiate a good deal for yourself, the other side will eventually figure it out.
Figure it out. You might as well incentivize them right now. And it's purely.
And this is actually what explains the attrition. So, you know, I used to work at a big law firm in Bombay, and which has this, especially the team I worked in, has this super high attrition rate. And
Attrition is?
you know, people leaving.
Right, okay.
Yeah, you know, like 20 people leave at once in a 50% team. Yeah. So, and the reason for that is basically this that you know, it's not traditionally called a negotiation, but basically the life they promised you and the work structure that they promised you is not actually granted when you're there. And of course, everyone figures it out.
Yes.
And that's why people leave. So just to give you a thing, how they negotiate. So a lot of negotiations is about posturing, right? So the posturing, the narrative that the firms, and I'm sure this happens in big companies or even at big, you know, financial firms and things like that, where people say that, oh, we'll give you a great career, but you have to promise to work hard. You need to work all the time. People here work all the time. But in reality, what happens is only a few people are working all the time, and a lot of others are
Just sitting around.
reaping the rewards of it. Meanwhile, these guys are getting mentally burnt out, emotionally burnt out, and they eventually do figure it out and they leave. But that's why these days need their brand and they need a constant supply of fresh talent.
Right.
Or fresh people willing to work because I mean, it's not the kind of job that requires a lot of talent, it just requires you to follow instructions.
Comply.
Whatever those instructions are. Yeah.
And how was working at a law firm?
Oh, terrible, man. I mean, to be honest, I enjoyed the feeling. You know, the narrative, the narrative that I had when I was in there was basically that, oh, look at me, I'm young and I'm earning so much money, I'm doing well. But yeah, eventually it reached a breaking point. It took a toll on my health, and it became
Figuring things out.
no, it became very clear that this was not long term viable. I need some water. Thanks for
I can edit it.
yeah. No, just make it sound good. There's nothing illegal.
Yeah. No. Just like the small blips are cool. Because I'll be manning this side, I'll be manning that side.
So yeah, the story is as goes like I was working in a firm for over a year,
Right.
and I hadn't taken a break. I hadn't gone on like a solid vacation. I'm not talking about these small trips out of town and things
I
like
don't know
that.
why he is just talking about numbers because like again he speaks about lawyers and him working at a law firm.
Yeah. There are parallels, a lot of parallels, but yeah. No, in my case, what basically happened is I had one of the worst illnesses of my life where I was essentially bedridden for 5 weeks.
Okay.
And, my temperature never came below 101. I was taking more paracetamol than what the doctors considered safe from a toxicity perspective, and we're still not dropping below 100. And finally, they had to, put me on an IV
Okay.
and pump in paracetamol directly in, and that gave some relief. And I took all the antibiotics in the world, so I was allowed for like 5 weeks. And
Right.
when I went back, like the only thing that came up was, what happened to all these things you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I realized that there's this, yeah. So that's how flip the switch in me, and I think this is what people are going to realize that the risk, there are hidden risks in a long career, which I think
It doesn't pop up.
yeah, which doesn't pop up. But in the startup life, there's the obvious risks, there's more risks, but there are also, you have flexibility in choosing your course of action, because ultimately you don't have any decision making power in a law firm or a big company. You just have to report it, you can frame it the best way you want, you can probably try to persuade them a little bit, but the authority to make the decision is not yours. You don't have the freedom. The freedom that you have in a startup, when you're on your own, if you ask me, more than makes up for it. And
It's a skill set to develop too.
it's a skill set that you develop, but I think even in mitigating the risk, right?
Yeah.
You can exercise your own judgment, and with period of time, your judgment will get better.
Exactly.
But you don't get the option of exercising your own judgment in a big setup, yeah. And the risk from that is so much greater.
Yeah. There's no balance.
Yeah.
Right. And judgment is like the number one skill.
Yeah, it's a skill. Back to another novel podcast. We spend a lot of time listening to novels, so we're obviously going to
Makes sense, bro. Because I don't really speak about this to anyone. Versus some people only who understand it yet. Right. And because like the rest of the world will listen to him probably slowly.
Yeah, for sure. He's got a million followers on Twitter.
Yeah.
So that's.
And the way he speaks also is so concise. Is the whole reason he understands Twitter better. He can like put it down in a word, in a sentence, and like be able to transfer that knowledge and put it into like quick bursts of like information.
Yeah, I think he mentioned this when he was on the Rogan podcast also. That I think the reason he is so the thing is because he's combining unusual things, right? He's actually very well versed with the philosophical side. I'm actually started getting into a bit of
So I was about to ask that too, like what parts of that he has thought haven't to come around yet, because obviously you don't have time, you're young enough to like probably. That being said, because he says it's more of like you have to learn more of philosophy and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, that's true. So interestingly, I go back and then, so I've been reading Paul Graham essays like since forever, I think, since 2007, 2008. And when I go back to reread some of Paul Graham's essays, I actually suddenly noticed that, oh, he's thanked Naval Ravikant in the and I never noticed that before. And now that I know who he is, I'm just like, oh, I see his name popping up more often. But yeah, sorry, coming back to the philosophy aspect of this, right? Yeah, obviously there's a lot, he packs a lot. By some happy coaches, I think, Nassim Taleb.
Yeah.
Is, yeah, the anti-fragile. Yeah. Man, my last job, I basically had a poster of anti-fragile
Yes.
on my desk.
Even though I don't never understood all of his books, but
He could do a better job explaining himself for sure. But yeah, I actually think his ideas are simple, but his method of communicating
unabashed.
Yeah, well, it's unabashed, number one, but he also has this thing where he picks examples that are very complex.
Yes. Okay.
He usually picks either something from ancient Greece or he picks something complex, some complex financial situation. And so it takes a bit of mental effort to follow it. But otherwise, I think he's. I think if you read Taleb, you probably don't need to read anybody else on this man.
He left me like a haze, bro. Like I've read Anti-Fragile, Black Swan, Skin in the Game. I didn't understand jack shit. But they say never step into the same river twice. So like probably when I reread it again, probably because I somewhere understood some part of the concept. But yeah,
well, fragile versus I think Taleb's. It's something that it's very hard to say with confidence.
Okay.
But I feel like I've understood his philosophy very well, and I actually say that I live my life not by his principles, but like 60% by his principles, which to some extent is not good enough anyways. But I actively try to anti-fragile these things. This is part of it, by the way, exposing myself to a new upside is a source of convexity.
Right, exactly. And even Naval says, like, be in the way of like luck.
Yeah.
Versus like just being plain lucky.
Yeah. Kind of put yourself in situations where you get lucky. Yeah.
Like it goes beyond like Naval and like he speaks about the Taleb and it becomes
Taleb's one of my favorite guys, man. And Anti-Fragile is the greatest book ever written. I don't think there's I mean, at least for me, I don't think there's any doubt about it. It's the greatest book ever written, hands down. Because once you read Anti-Fragile, then you know what to do on everything.
Stress test everything.
Yeah, stress test everything. Yeah, that's true. Expose yourself to likely sources of black swans. Where here's the thing, man. I think understanding the structure of things is more important than understanding the probability of things.
Wait.
If that makes sense. Should I pause?
Yeah.
Alright. Yeah, like I said, you're just anti-fragilizing your life and it's a good thing. So, interesting point about startups and anti-fragility. Each individual startup is fragile, but the startup ecosystem is anti-fragile.
Right.
Yeah, so at some level you gotta think that there are so many founders who work so hard, many of whom are inevitably going to fail, but it is their failures that let the rest of the economy run. I mean they're sort of like fallen soldiers.
But it's all experience.
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily good for them, right?
It can be. It's a part of their.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't advise against them doing it any other way. I just feel that
like you got to fail a rep, you got to fail a squat.
Yeah.
The squat rack, in order to eventually learn from that mistake, come back in again.
Yeah, for sure. But what I'm saying is that they don't get enough credit for it.
Credit, yes.
Failed entrepreneurs don't get enough credit, and that's the scary part of entrepreneurship. But
And that's what again he says, right? If everybody would be doing it, like there's no use, like there are only certain people who can take on that risk
Yeah.
and understand the liabilities and like stuff like that and still work on it.
yeah,
And it's an added skill set, like obviously, because like everybody can't do it, like and everybody wouldn't, like probably later off in your life, it might be far more tougher.
Yeah.
Versus when you're young enough right now, 20 years down the line, it might just look like nothing, easy in terms of like, you know, I've gone through all that earlier stages, even though it was hard, but now I can like probably assess more startups,
yeah.
invest in other startups, or like start my own startup, or like, you know, invest in things that you can like, you look at like how hard somebody is working at a startup, and you can assess because you yourself was into like building something off of your own.
That's also notoriously hard to assess everywhere. You know how hard somebody is working at a startup because
Unless you do it yourself.
no, even then, what happens is you can assess how wide someone's knowledge is. It's very hard to assess how deep someone's knowledge is in one area.
Yeah.
And it's the second thing that really matters. So, yeah, it's a hard. I think it's hard, but
Right.
let's see. Maybe that's another thing. Another startup life. I change my mind on things quite frequently, and maybe if we have a podcast again, you know,
Yeah.
3-4 months down the line, I'll have a completely different set of positions.
Yeah. And to change your mind too is like a skill set, is like a, you know, like a, it's a part of your thing that you have to get good at making judgments quickly.
Yeah.
Good judgments quickly.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, that's not something I've had trouble with, to be honest. You know, letting go of old beliefs and stuff. That's that's just something that's come like naturally to me. I won't necessarily say I have the best judgment because I don't. I mean, I read, but I tend to read weird stuff. Like you know,
Go ahead.
but I'm not very well versed with politics. I'm not very well versed with macro or microeconomics for that matter. I know enough about what's going on, but you know, I wouldn't know enough to make a judgment on any of
You're
this.
not old enough, at least to that extent.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could have been, you know, it's again a question of making some of these things a habit, right? So, I have a friend who's a great fan of Matt Levine, and every time he sends me a Matt Levine article, Matt Levine's the guy who just writes a lot about finance, you know, and companies and things like that. And almost every Matt Levine article I end up enjoying because I like his writing style, but I've never gotten into the habit of reading it every week or something like that. Yeah.
You going out on your own and searching for that information.
Exactly. Or just getting into the habit of reading.
But there are a lot of things that you, again, it's all about like, in context, why do you eventually need it? Then you probably like start picking it up immediately, right?
Yeah. So there's this guy called George Hotz.
The
AI, he's an AI guy.
Lex.
Exactly. That's how I know him. And the word he uses is knowledge stream. Yeah. So I mean, if you focus on the things that fit nicely into your knowledge stream, you'll get to some place.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's an add-on.
Exactly.
Like, see, we started off with just mics.
Yeah.
And then only audio, and then I inevitably, you know, I had to learn my way around it. And 2 episodes ago, I got like a videographer, he's a filmmaker and stuff. Right? The conversation with him, like, again sparked me into like a new dimension of like, download this shit, bro. Download this, bro. Create it this way, bro. And over a couple of weeks, I'm messaging him, I'm YouTubing the fuck out of everything. Right now, I'm like learning around it. I didn't have intent until I needed this to be done. Right?
Understood. But yeah, bro, this is actually this thing in the startup world, which they talk about, which gets talked about a lot. It's called the action bias.
I've heard of this. Yes.
Which is basically a way to increase convexity again. You know, fits nicely into the anti-fragile. That I take this. I don't know what's going to come of this. You know, maybe not the product may not. You know, well, there's a chance it could go viral, but more than I would say that's a slim chance, but. More than that, you know, maybe one person can pass a comment or one person can get a lead or maybe it will lend me just enough credibility with, say, one person and the next time I meet him, he already knows who I am, so we can start up a conversation and it's it's a butterfly effect, right?
Yeah.
Butterfly effect or domino effect, whichever way you want to put it.
And so, how has COVID impacted? What were the initial reactions and?
Yeah, so the thing is that there was in the MMA world, like I mentioned, a big part of the thing is the anticipation.
Right.
And one fight which people have been anticipating for the last 4 or 5 years is between the current Russian lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov. You might have heard of him.
I can't pronounce the last name.
It's
I have a friend who's like
Nurmagomedov.
Nurmagomedov.
Yeah, and his one of the guys who's stylistically sort of suited to face him is a guy called Tony Ferguson, who's a freak of his own. And this fight has been booked 5 times.
Okay, crazy.
And every time something has happened, I think once Khabib missed the weight cut, once there was a food poisoning, once this guy tripped over a wire and blew out his knee.
Yes.
And the 5th time this happened, and they were like, okay, this time it's going to happen, and then COVID happened. Yeah, and I had sort of set up the thing that we would launch 2-3 weeks before Khabib versus Tony, because the product is so suited for that kind of a fight. But COVID happened, my engineers went off the radar.
With everyone.
Yeah, and it took me a long while to get everything back up and running. And because of all the chaos, right, like a lot of things that I wanted built into the product to date have not yet, but we have. Now we have a better team in place, and more. We have more brain power and more credentialed brain power behind it. So probably sometime soon. And what I think we're doing is treating it as it is for now. Get more feedback, and in the next release we'll have like a huge set of. And then the question of how quickly to iterate. All the technical things are right now being outsourced. If it was in-house, we would have probably iterated faster. But over here, we have to be a tad more careful in our iterations, because if we iterate too many times, we're going to run out of money, which is not a good thing. Yeah. So but we're in a good place right now, and we have a lot of cool features coming up.
And again, with the COVID, like everything's moved online. So again, you're still in the windfall in terms of benefit. In terms of again, a lot of people using apps, a lot of people buying mobile phones. Buying electronics.
I think the fantasy sports industry initially probably took a hit because there were no sports happening, no live sports happening.
But it's going to bounce back more than ever, because now people who don't have a phone now.
Yeah.
Kids who don't have phones are probably going to have. There are a lot of consumer electronics. Consumption of consumer.
Possibly, I don't know.
Yeah.
Possibly.
You can nudge the entire thing forward.
Yeah, it could happen, but I mean, nothing's ever that simple. So
Because I wonder if there is like retailers, e-retailers have gone through the roof. They don't have laptops to sell, like stuff like that. Like people have bought everything on the internet in terms of electronics and stuff like that. That just leaves them with. It's not that we're not going to use them, right? They're going to download apps. They're going to fucking search for information. They're going to like learn and stuff like that, right? So it's going to set off a wave of like.
At some point in the future. At some point in the future.
And there's a lot of content to be developed and like produced too, in terms of like what I'm doing here.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I think that's exactly what's happened in the MMA world also, right? Because social media and technology have connected the world. The world actually knows a lot more about martial arts in the last 2 decades than it ever knew before, because we got to see the best martial artists against one another. And this is why I actually think we're in a really good position, because all the other sports, right? Basketball is it's US's thing. Soccer is more global, but it's still a handful of countries. India is very cricket-centric, but fighting is in everybody's DNA. And it's only a matter of time before it becomes the global sport. And I mean, the startup is based on that premise. But I think we're way ahead of the curve. We know the market better. We know the users way better than everybody. So we have all those advantages for sure.
And what about like the Bangalore scenario of people who are coming forward who are interested in such stuff? And since you went for the fight too, etc.
People.
How do you assess it? What's happening?
It's good, man. Like I mean, it's hard to do it during this during these times, right? but we got a lot of positive feedback. Like, I mean, there was a sizable crowd. But the reason there was a sizable crowd is because the place where we held it was very big and open and well ventilated. And
Where is this exactly?
it's
After Bangalore?
oh, it's far beyond all that. I guess it's
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's you know, you have to go on the main road somewhere, take a left into a smaller place.
And then go
Yeah.
deeper?
Yeah. So that's how it is. But yeah, we had great venue partners, and I think the promotion did a good
A
job.
lot of venues too, right there. Because as my friend told, he went for a football match and stuff like that. He's like, bro, it was the place was very good. But in terms of, you can't just like, if it was 2-3 years ago, probably that place wouldn't. And
Yeah.
it's so well facilitated. Like, can you
Yeah.
imagine like that quick growth? That's something to like at least actually see. There are a lot of facilities and stuff like this actually coming up. Sarjapur.
Yeah, there is.
Probably you should just chill there.
Yeah, I mean it's really fun, right? But
Yeah, for us it's like.
yeah, I mean it's a road trip. You're absolutely right. But yeah, it's an interesting place, man, and it's growing.
It's interesting in terms of if you have an advantage and leverage
By
right
the way,
now.
there were politicians and noted filmmakers and the likes of those kind of folks there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and they all appreciated it very much so.
It's a fitness facility.
Yeah, it's essentially a gym which they converted into,
Oh.
you know, for this event they put up a ring in the center and yeah.
I need to Google this.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But I mean, if you go back now, it'll be a gym.
Yes.
But the next event that we have probably won't be 2020.
There was obviously there would be social media and some kind of.
Oh yeah. So we were broadcasting on Fight.tv.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Go great, bro. So, YouTube too?
It was on Facebook. I don't know if it was on YouTube.
That's what happened to us too. Like anything that could possibly go online just went online after the thing. People started downloading OBS. That's like the broadcasting software, right?
Yeah.
Anybody and everybody were downloading and making music and everything was just streaming only.
If you actually knew so much about broadcasting, maybe we should put you in touch with those guys. I'm sure they would value the services.
Yeah, not terms of broadcasting, just like the onboarding to digital. That's what I would call it. Not broadcasting. Help you conveniently place yourself online.
Understood.
Conveniently, that's how I tell people who don't understand. Like just from the digital analog to the digital world. How do you like move from that, right?
Yeah.
And there is a gap, and that's what over the years I was running around trying to figure shit out on my own. And then hey, guess what? That's what I told, right? It was what the shit I was doing was in the fringes, and then suddenly it became all relevant. It became all like I could see the pieces falling. But 3 years ago, I was like a lunatic fucking explaining people like, no sir, the digital marketing. And then
That was true, bro. They had a great digital team, though. I mean, a great production team. I actually I've met those guys before.
and at that scale, you need like a good zone, right?
Yeah, and they were great fun to work with. Very chill guys, very nice guys. Yeah.
So that's the beauty of it. If you're already doing it and if everybody's already doing it, I don't necessarily. The podcast for that matter too, like when we started off, like we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
You will probably go back and see our first episode. We were just like, we threw shit around and we called it like a friend of ours and she was just, she just said, okay, and she had no clue what was happening. I didn't know how to host for that matter too.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't know what questions to ask. I didn't know what the fuck to do even, but I just sat here and just started interviewing. I just only
That's how Rogan got started too, bro.
Yeah, right.
You're in good company.
Yeah, right. And nobody knew what was happening. Even we didn't know what was happening. How do we edit it? How do we put it up? But we just made it, and it was like 2 years ago at least, where nobody understood again podcasts and stuff like that, and we were just like doing it, and we were not serious too, but we just did it, so that we had what they say in every venture for me too. Doing the bare minimum is 50% done, like making the first action. You want to get to the gym, just like buy probably gear so that again, I'll just buy that shoe.
2 minute rule.
Yeah, just do that bare minimum. In terms of anything else, if I want to start a new podcast, I don't do anything other than I make a logo.
Yeah,
I just make the logo so that it just symbolizes something,
For
and then
sure.
I'm action oriented after that. Right?
that is such a great life hack. I've used it again and again. It's very good when you're starting something.
Starting something, it might be a whim, it might be an idea, but I just make a logo just so that probably that's how the other podcast started.
Reptilian brain gets over the fear. Yeah,
Gets over the fear, and I'm already done this. What else is left?
exactly.
And I help other people start podcasts too by getting over to their podcast and interviewing them. So that they're like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, no bro, chill, first episode. We're gonna fuck it up. It's gonna be the worst episode. But like this is, you have to get through this. If you don't get through this, the first episode, even our first episode was a huge blunder.
Yeah.
Like the very first episode, we got people over with crazy cameras and shit. Like it didn't. Finally, we did it with an archaeologist. He was like the head of archaeology service in a French dad basically, and. It ended up like the video was so good we didn't have audio at all. He was in such a state. But we had to make that mistake. If we wouldn't have made it, we wouldn't have like gone through. Versus I do IG live episodes too, right? It was only podcasting only through IG live. First 2 episodes I straight out lost it. I lost the data. I lost the entire episode.
Right.
But I knew it. I had to lose those episodes. I'm just somehow hating somehow internally. Just like I have to like where is this? Where am I? When am I going to fuck it up? How fast is it going to be? So that I learn from my mistake and start doing shit.
Yeah.
So any apps? Anything that you've been using? Anything that's interesting? Any app?
Yeah, but I'm mainly talking about my app, I guess.
Any utility based or anything like that. Just I don't know. Just the general service in Bangalore. Dunzo, Ola, hold.
No, man, nothing really that I can.
Yeah, because I just generally ask so that we know the ecosystem, what's happening in Bangalore. Somebody else might be like, we had somebody talking about some price comparison app, which nobody would have known unless I asked them.
Yeah, no, nothing to really speak of. I discovered Basecamp recently, but yeah.
You're still recording, right?
I'm still recording, yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
And but I think everybody already knows about that.
Which one?
Basecamp.
What is it?
It's a project management software. So
Okay.
basically helps me coordinate with the team and figure out how many things are left. Yeah, it's a great productivity enhancer. Yeah, I still feel I'm not using it to its full potential, but I think all of these tools also have their own onboarding curve.
Of a curve, learning curve.
Yeah.
Huh. And again, how was Bangalore and what has it become right now? That's like my theme of everything that I ask. In again, vantage points. I like vantage points. So
I think people.
especially I ask this because you weren't in Bangalore for a while, so it's far more important for me to ask this question.
Yeah, no, I mean the biggest thing is the startup thing, bro.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I'm not saying that because I'm in a startup, but like even when I came back and
They're in startup
it's
city.
just this is startup city. This is the startup capital of the world.
Yeah.
Probably the second biggest city in the whole entire world after Silicon Valley. And Silicon Valley is not going in a good direction, so this might become the most important city in the world. And when you look at it that way, right, I think we're in a great city. My experiences, but we've always had a very different culture, man. Like,
We did, but it was the OG, old school, bro. Malleshwaram, I know Malleshwaram. Like, I went to tuitions and all, right? That in terms of that, right? Versus, that's where it ended. Bangalore ended near Malleshwaram.
Yeah.
You come outside the city to Yelahanka. That was where it ended. Like, bro, you don't go after that. Now, bro, the city begins here. You find coffee there. You find
Right. But everything that you're saying is just you're just talking about
the physical aspects.
The physical aspect. That's happening in Delhi. That's happening in Bombay. That's not unique about Bangalore. But I'll tell you one thing that I found is that I think we are a far more libertarian city than any other city.
High openness.
Very high on openness. So. In fact, like, people would give questions like, oh wow, this guy's from Bangalore. No wonder he's so weird, he's so strange. But and I think the reason for that is because everyone from Bangalore is just used to speaking their mind, and everyone's a lot closer to who they really are. But I think in other cities, you have a role.
Right, some sort of reserve.
Yeah, it's not so much of a reserve, but you have a role.
Right.
This is my place in the social hierarchy.
Compliance.
This is how I'm supposed to act.
Right.
And a lot of it is dictated by that. And therefore, even a lot of their thinking, right, like a lot of their innovation basically goes into how do I navigate the social maze, whether it's in Bangalore, it's yeah,
Everybody's friends with everybody.
Yeah.
If you got to speak 3-4 languages, then you're always good in any area. You're always fun. That's what I've realized too. Our friends are varied. Like it's varied friends. I have friends from everywhere. That's because like that's how we grew up and that's how it was. Like boys are boys. It didn't matter, right? It was all friends. We talked about basketball. It was about anything, music for that matter. That's where I feel we are more like in touch. That's because like everybody is in touch with themselves. That's because we're all varying interests and like speaking about different. That didn't matter who we are, what happened was that didn't matter. It was more about what's interesting. Like what are you learning? What are you doing? Stuff like that. That's more fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, bro. I think we had a good conversation. Okay, bro. Ashwin, thank you a lot for coming over.
No problems, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this, and
The conversation was
we'll
worth it.
schedule another one for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I want to know more about what's happening. It's always there. So for the guys who are listening, I hope you guys like what we did here. And as usual, the conversation is always fun for me because I like learning from different people and like somewhere somebody sitting down in Bangalore or somewhere around the world and seeing what's Bangalore up to. This is what we are up to, and this is what's been happening. Right, and I find this guy interesting and like inspirational for that matter. If any kids,
hopefully,
right, I do, right. And if anybody is stuck in a rut, they hear your story like probably yes, fuck, I need to get out and need to start doing things.
Yeah,
That's more fun for me.
Yeah, I mean, before I do that, I'd like to sort of say that I want to make it first.
Yeah.
And then present.
The journey also matters.
Yeah, but the journey also matters.
Okay.
That's absolutely true.
Cool. See you guys until the next episode. Bye bye.
Thanks, guys. See you around.